unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Wohl, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders right here where we call home. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, Shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation. 1 minute, your world is normal. The next, it's gone. A flood, a fire, a crime scene. Your home shattered. Your business shut down. Your life on pause. But in the darkest hour, when chaos knocks at your door, that's when Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County shows up. Not just a company, not just a cleanup crew, but neighbors, parents, coaches, locals who care. Drake and his team aren't just restoring properties. They're restoring peace, restoring dignity, restoring lives. So when your worst day arrives, call the oh no guy who becomes your thank God guy. Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County. Locally owned, nationally known, unshakably trusted. From devastation to restoration. Serve Pro, Northwest Lake County. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. I am recording here at the Loop Marketing, which is right at the end of Center Street and Lake Street. My buddy Eli lets me record here, so thank you, Eli. I appreciate you, buddy. I'm finally on. I can't believe it's taken 140-some episodes, but I have Dr. Terry Miller with me. Terry, how are you?
I'm doing real good.
Good. Thank you for taking the time with me.
Thank you. The man of mystery.
Yeah, you are the man of mystery.
On that golden veil you always want to get.
Well, and have you ever done a podcast before? I'm sure
No.
you. Really?
No, never.
Interesting. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's just start. I want to go back because I know that you. How long have you lived or been in Grayslake?
I was born in Grayslake. So
You were?
Since 1960.
Okay.
I've been here. I was just away for 3 years of college and then 1 year in Michigan, and otherwise I've been here the whole time.
Really? Okay, so you got to grow up here and see things change and see how everything has gotten
Right.
in your 35 years of life. How long
Exactly.
it's taken to get here. Okay, so you grew up in, where did you go to grade school at then?
I went to St. Gilbert's.
Oh, I was a St. Gilbert boy too.
Thanks.
Awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, and then so after Gilbert's you go to
Grayslake.
Grayslake High School, right? Now, did you go to high school with Steve Lawrence?
He was 2 years behind me, and we played the trombone together, which you might have heard.
Yes. Yeah, I heard. How was it when you finally got to meet your idol?
Yeah, he was amazing. He's just a great guy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was so nervous.
I bet. Okay, so you were in band.
I was in band, a couple years ahead of him.
Did both of you guys do that?
Did what?
Both of you guys did that? Both of you guys were in band?
Yeah, he was a couple years behind, and we had a lot of fun.
I bet you guys
We
did.
were trombone players, and we just goofed around in the very back row of the band stage.
I bet it was fun.
Yeah.
Now, where did you live growing up?
I grew up on Woodland Drive, so right by Woodland Grade School.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, what was your address?
314.
Okay. I lived at 358. So you were pretty close to Woodview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Did you live there for a long time?
Yeah. It was amazing. Everyone lived there a long time. You know, it took a long time before people started moving out.
That's the truth. Well, and there wasn't that many places to move in Grayslake at that time, was there?
No, there wasn't.
That's for sure. Yeah, I was talking because I moved from, I grew up on Burton Street.
Okay.
And when I was talking to my parents when I was born, that I think they bought that house for $35,000. I was like,
Yeah. My parents bought theirs in 54 for 17.
$17,000. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Wow. And all those houses are still there and live and kicking. Looking for a car dealer that actually feels like your hometown? Welcome to City Chevrolet of Grayslake, where the vibe is friendly, the pressure is off, and you'll always be treated like family. Meet Anthony Scala. He's just not the owner. He's a guy that grew up in the car business, worked his way from porter to owner. Anthony believes in people first. That's why City Chevy sponsors your kids' teams, your town events. And matter of fact, this show, they give back every chance they get. Anthony thinks that the experience of buying a car should be fun. No pressure, just honest people who care. Whether you need a new Chevy, a quality used car, or just service you can trust, City Chevy is here for you. Come visit City Chevrolet of Grayslake right off of 120. And thank you for sponsoring our town, our stories, our voice. Let's get after it, Grayslake.
Okay, so I've read a little bit about you, but not a lot. So sports in high school?
Yeah, I did football, basketball, and track. And then in college, I did football and track.
Okay. And what position were you in football?
A lot of things. I was quarterback, high school quarterback, safety, punter, kick returner, punt returner. In college, I was punter and then safety.
Gotcha. Now, what I read on one of your bio things is, did football lead you to your career?
Very much so.
And how was that?
Well, I was having trouble with tendonitis. So I was a quarterback of the team, and I was having trouble with my knee. It was getting real weak. It was hard to run, so they were practicing shotgun, but I was having trouble, so my dad took me to an orthopedic, and they said, take these pills, take 3 weeks off of football, and kind of live with it, and then you're fine to play after. And I didn't want to take 3 weeks off of football because we only had 9 games. So my dad said, hey, let's go see Doc Collins. And I'm like, it's my knee, Dad. It's not my back. I'm fine. My back feels great. He goes, let's see what Doc has to say. So Doc checked me out, and he goes, okay, you got tendonitis in your knee. And not to be sarcastic, but I said, I know, that's what the real doctor said.
The real doctor?
Didn't mean to be sarcastic, but, and then he smiled at me. He goes, well, what did the real doctor say is causing it? And I said, running. And he smiled. He goes, do you run with just your left leg, or do you go left, right, left, right, left? Because there wasn't an injury to it. And what it was, my back was out of alignment, so I put a lot more pressure. It's like every time you walk a mile, 50 tons of force is going through your body. So when you run, you increase it about 4 times. So my hips were so far out of alignment that I was putting way more pressure on the left side. And he adjusted me, and it felt like if you ever had morphine injected in you, you just feel this trickle go down to right where it's hurting my knee once he adjusted me. And it was like, holy cow. It felt so different. Now, I wasn't immediately out of pain, but I was able to run and keep doing everything I wanted to do. And so that was my first experience. And I should have known chiropractic could help because my brother was a quarterback the year before. And on a Friday before a game, he stepped in a hole and walked off all bent over. And Dr. Collins saw him after hours on Friday. Saturday morning, treated him. And I was a backup quarterback. I was a running back, starting running back, but I was a backup quarterback. So I took over. He came in the second quarter, and he threw for over 200 yards the rest of the game. Really? And he was running like nothing happened. So you think I would have been really open to it, but now that it was me getting adjusted, I was afraid.
Right.
And then I hurt my back water skiing in college, and got adjusted by Dr. Collins again and got better. And then I thought, I got to look in this profession. Because I wasn't sore because I had an Advil deficiency. Something was bothering me. It wasn't an aspirin problem. There was something causing the pain. So instead of hiding the pain with medication, let's go after the cause. And by getting my back adjusted, I was able to take care of that.
Wow, so that's what led you to be interested in that. Did you guys know anything about, there was family friends with Dr. Collins or anything?
He had known my mom. She worked at the bank, Grayslake National Bank at the time. He knew her, but I did not. So we didn't start seeing him until in high school. And then just getting to know him, because I visited him a lot, especially my senior year in high school. I was seeing him all the time because I kept getting beat up. And so I got to know him real well that way.
He seems that he was a very big inspiration to a lot of people.
Oh, he was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just one of those unique guys. It's funny, he had this great story. He went boar hunting, and he noticed a guy didn't have a gun with him. And he's like, aren't you going to, and he was going to use an arrow for the boars. That's how he killed the boars. He shot arrow.
No way.
And the guy goes, well, the dog's going to let me know they're there, and I'm climbing up a tree. And he goes, either you're going to make it or the boar's going to make it, and I'm going to be up on the tree, and if you kill the boar, then I'll come down. But if the boar takes you, I'm staying here for a while.
Sounds like a very smart guy.
He was.
Wow. Okay, so Dr. Collins, do you have any idea when his practice started?
See, well, his dad, I have in my window, I've been in practice since 1922. That was, his dad started it in 1922. And then he was there for like 14 or 15 years, and then Dr. Collins was there for 48 and a half years, and I've been there 40 now. So it's only been 3 people
Unbelievable.
In all those years, 103 years.
I'm thinking that, like, you were talking 1922, right?
Yeah.
Like, when was chiropractic, like, when is accepted, like...
The The first adjustment was in 1895. And the college was, I'm not sure if it was a year or 2 years after when they started. So Grayslake had virtually one of the first chiropractors.
Really? I think Johnny Bowman told me that too, that it was really like it was not like witch doctor stuff, and no one didn't believe it as a medical thing for a long time, right?
Right. It was, the medical profession did a lot to try to control and eliminate. That was the exact words. Because there was a court case that went all the way to the Supreme Court that chiropractors versus the AMA. And they were trying to suppress chiropractic because starting in 1960, chiropractors became the second largest healthcare profession, and we were growing. And they wanted, in their own words, that came out in court, control and eliminate competition. And so they actively went after chiropractic.
Wow.
I mean, they even, had Ann Landers write bad things about chiropractic. Now, she did not know she was being used by the AMA. They told her what the problem was, and, she went and would write it in her articles. But she had a neighbor that had a bedwetting problem. A 12-year-old daughter had a bedwetting problem. And she couldn't go over to any sleepovers because she was having trouble.
Right.
And finally, the mom took her to the chiropractor, adjusted her, and her bedwetting problem went away. And that's when Ann Landers started thinking, I got to check into chiropractic because they're not what I'm being told. Right. She didn't know she was being used.
Wow. Did she ever retract it and do any stories about?
She did positive stuff on chiropractic.
She did
afterwards.
Good.
Yeah. And the problem with the AMA, the head lawyer for the law firm that took on the AMA was a guy named George McAndrews. And he was the senior partner of the largest antitrust law firm in the country. And his brother was the president of the college I went to. His sons were chiropractors. His cousins were chiropractors. His uncles, aunts were all chiropractors. So he took the case for very inexpensive, and he took on the AMA by himself.
Wow.
And he'd be in a courtroom. There'd be lawyers everywhere. He'd be by himself with a couple aides. And the court case lasted like 13 or 14 years. And he even joked that it's going to the Supreme Court, and even if we win, I'm going to appeal our victory. Because he goes, I want the Supreme Court to hear this. And, of course, the AMA appealed all the way up.
Sure.
And the Supreme Court said, everyone was right, so we're not going to take the case.
That's
so you have
crazy.
You have to stop what you're doing.
Wow. Now, where did you go to school? Was it Palmer?
I went to Palmer.
Yeah. So Palmer's, is it just strictly a chiropractic school?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because it seems like most of the chiropractors that I know, I always see the Palmer on everything. Are there a lot more colleges in the United States for it?
They're like 12 or something besides Palmer. But Palmer's got 3. They have one in California, one in Florida, and then Life is a real good one down in Georgia.
We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
The Grayslake Chamber of Commerce isn't just networking, it's opportunity. Members get exposure through local events, online directories, and social media, plus access to exclusive resources that help businesses succeed. Make new connections, grow your brand, and be part of the events that bring our town together. Learn more and join today at grayslakechamber.com. The Grayslake Chamber of Commerce, the new wave of business.
This is Bob Churchill. I know you are always there for your family, caring for your children, your spouse, and even your parents. But in critical times, will you be able to make decisions that assure the best result for your family? A power of attorney may be necessary if on behalf of a loved one you need to talk to a doctor, a bank, or the college infirmary. A power of attorney may sound daunting, but the lawyers at Churchill, Quinn, Hamilton, and Van Doncelar can easily create this document for you. We are right here in Grayslake, supporting the community for over 122 years. Reach out to us at grayslakelaw.com or call us at 847-223-1500. Whether you need a power of attorney, a will, or legal help with your business, we'll take care of you so you can care for others. Go to grayslakelaw.com today for more information. Have a wonderful day, and now back to the program.
Okay, so then where did you, when you said that you realized this, were you already in college when you decided that you wanted to be a chiropractor?
Well, I was going to be an accountant. So I was studying for accounting.
Really?
And then after I got help with my water skiing incident, I got to go into this.
Yeah.
So I took my first chemistry test, and out of 110 points, I got 61 right. Not impressive. I was very fortunate, though. My brother was a chemistry major at the same college. So I went to him for tutoring, and the next test I got 87 out of 110, the next test 107, and then I knew I could do it because I was always wondering, when you study business, you study one way. Science I was never really into.
Right.
And so after he tutored me, then it just all took off.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate.
So how long of schooling is that? How many years did you have to do chiropractic school?
It's a 4-year school, but if you go through summers, you get done in 3.
Okay.
And so most people at that time, you want to get out of there and start working and having fun and stuff like that. So pretty much everyone goes through 3.
It's funny that you say that because I always say, like, get out of school to start working and having fun. I stay in school as long as you can because that's the fun part, right?
Exactly. When you look back at it, 100%.
Yeah. I went to 2 summer schools to try to graduate early to make sure to get out of college. Now I look back and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah. We had a lot of fun in undergrad, when I went to North Central College.
North Central.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so having a legacy like that of a practice in a very small town, right? Mm-hmm. So he hands it over in Dr. Collins. So do you take it over after Dr. Collins?
Well, that's another interesting story in that, he always wanted me to take over his practice. He'd been talking to me since I was a senior in high school. He wanted me there, but it's kind of hard to follow a guy like that,
Right.
Because he was going to you can open up if you want to right next to me, but I really wasn't working with him, so I knew it would be tough. So I went to a clinic in Michigan and studied there for a year, or understudied there for a year, and learned how to do the business aspect. The guy had a very successful practice. And I just happened to call Dr. Collins on a June day and said, how's he doing? Just what's going on? What's happening? He goes, Terry, I'm closing. He goes, I wanted you to take over. You're busy in Michigan. I tried a couple people. It didn't work out, so I'm just going to close the office. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, because I promised the guy I'd be there a year. I said, my year's up. Let me come and talk to you. And so just out of the blue, I happened to call him that day. He would have been closed the next week. And he was just going to close up till the real estate person don't sell it to another chiropractor because he didn't want the people thinking they're the same.
Sure.
And I just happened to call, and he said, let's talk. And
it's those thin threads in life, right, man? That's like one of those things, like, if you don't make that call, who knows what happens, right?
Right. And I didn't make the call because he was closing right away. He was just getting too sore, being in his 70s, and
wow.
Yeah, so it worked out.
Obviously that anything you take over like that with basically like a legend that had it from you for a long time, I'm sure meeting the clients and turnover, was that it?
That's another story. Because when I got there, when he took over for his dad, nobody wanted to see him.
Because he was the young guy?
He was the young guy.
Yeah.
And he just sat in the office by himself. So finally he asked his dad will you leave so I can practice. And so he left. So when I show up, he gave me a week he would greet patients for a week.
Okay.
And luckily I was at a very busy clinic before. So I was pretty good. And even in college, I was called a gold coat, which means you see so many patients that you help other students learn how to adjust. So I was already instructing. So I had adjusted a lot of patients to begin with. And so
But having
after a week, goodbye.
Holy smokes. Well, you know what? And this funny thing, because if you look at, like, doctors have been practicing for a very long time, and you probably are learning new, I'm sure there's things that always come up that are new, right, in any kind of medical field. So were you accepted well during that time? Do you have any pushback at all?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, in reality, it was pretty good. There was an old couch in his office that was horrible to sit in. It was so soft. And he always liked when kids would go and sit on that couch because he couldn't get out of it. I tell you, once I got the couch out of there, so many patients were like, oh, that was the greatest thing you ever did. That was always so sore afterwards.
For moving the couch?
Just getting the couch out of there.
That's hilarious. Oh, so he gave you 1 week and then gone?
Then gone.
Wow. And you communicate with him after that?
Yeah, we kept in touch for 10 years or so.
Wow.
And
okay.
then,
how old were you when you took over there then?
I was 26.
Oh, so you were, I mean,
a baby.
Young, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they go from 70-year-old to a 26-year-old.
Right.
I'm sure that was very interesting. So doing what you do, you've got to interact with a lot of people from town over these years.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sure that you pretty much, well, and that was funny because I had never met you before. And maybe because I had never gone to the chiropractor, I'd never done anything, and I went to high school with John, so it was like if I ever needed anything, I would stop in there. But your office has been in the same place
since then.
Jeez.
They opened up, and there was an article in the Grayslake Times back in the 20s when, like 25, that the first Dr. Collins was upstairs of more or less where Twisted Burger is.
Okay.
And he'd make people crawl up those stairs to see him. And then he moved into the building that I am in now. And then he starts, and they describe what the building looked like with linoleum floor, and it's just kind of funny how they wrote things back in the 20s.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they explained how he had an X-ray machine, which I didn't know, but he developed in a closet, the films and.
Really?
So that was in the 20s, yeah.
Yeah, in the 20s. Okay, so even when you take over at 26, this town didn't look anything like it does today,
No.
right?
It did.
So where were you? Who was next to you then? Do you have any idea when you went there? What stores were there?
Next to me, on where First Draft was a pet store. And the other side, I can't remember if Ron Runkle, the lawyer, was there or somebody else. Or it was a resale shop.
Okay.
I forget her name, but she was over there.
Yeah, because that whole block there was very interesting, and I probably wouldn't even recognize it today.
Right. And then when I remodeled my office, Kevin Chick was very well known.
Yeah.
You could interview him.
I know Kevin very well.
He's the one who built out the front part of it, and then Lori, she goes, "Here, I'm taking you out of your comfort zone. We were going to add some color to it," and she talked me into doing that. And so that was like the first storefront that anybody did anything to.
Interesting.
And then I had Mary Cleese help me the last time, just a few years ago. She said, "Terry, now we're really getting out of your comfort zone. We're going black and white stripes. We're doing this." And
So you can't take credit for doing that stuff.
I can't take. No, I'm horrible at that. Thank God for both of them.
That's great. So through when I think about that, and it's cool that you were able to start a practice like where you grew up. That must have meant a lot to you.
It was, because Grayslake's such a great town. I mean, it is so unique, and I love growing up into it. And where I live now, I live in Tree Island, and right by the plateau. And if you went to Grayslake, you know the plateau. And it seemed so big at the time, but by the time I moved there, it was small. It was like a hump. But growing up, it was like, oh my God, you're afraid to go down it.
Yeah. Isn't it funny what our perceptions are?
Yeah.
As a kid, because we always talk on the show about Tree Island and the plateau and where we went to go hang out and cause trouble or whatever.
Right.
I'm sure you guys, before my time, probably caused a lot of trouble back there.
I was more open there, but my dad was a teacher for 37 years.
Okay.
And he coached virtually all the sports. And then he took...
He was a teacher in town?
He was a teacher, at Grayslake High School. So he taught chemistry and math, and he became a counselor. And my mom worked at St. Gilbert's for 25 years, since I was 9 years old till my son started going there. So everybody knew me. So I couldn't get in trouble because I pulled one prank, and my parents already heard about it before I got home. So I had to be a good boy. So I couldn't do too much running around with crazy things because everybody knew me.
Yeah.
Everybody knew me.
I guess that's the blessing and the curse, right?
Right.
That's kind of fun. I want to ask you, because we always talk, and my friend Charlotte Renahan, that you're familiar with, Charlotte and I always talk after shows and talk about old Grayslake. And the thing that's fascinated me from growing up here, I was born here and raised here and never really left except for college. Some of your fond memories about growing up here, what made it so special to grow up in this town?
One thing that I've always found real cool, I call it the core of Grayslake. It's bound by Washington Street on the north, 120 by south, 83 east, and there was really nothing west. Kid could do anything because you never had to cross a big road.
Right.
So you could go to Tasty Fruits Trees, you could go down to the Five and Dime, you could go anywhere you wanted, and you didn't have to worry about getting in trouble, with any roads. And so, again, I felt so fortunate where we lived. We could do that, and of course we never feared about anything bad happening to us, but
No.
you never had to worry about crossing a bad street. So we just rode our bikes everywhere, ran everywhere. And so I just remember hanging around with the same core people all, through grade school and stuff, just running around doing crazy things, Tree Island. And I think that was, it used to be packed because everyone sees the lakes there now, the ponds.
Right.
But they weren't there before. There was just a marsh. And so that's all Army Corps of Engineers. But there was just tall weeds. And the bike paths, we went all over. We had so many hidden forts where we went way into the weeds and we made sure that we covered it up so no one could see it. And then you go way back and the weeds were taller than us. So we had our own little forts that we hung around in.
That's awesome. Give me some names. Who you used to hang out with?
Jeff Deegan, Randy Razak, Sandy Razak. Don O'Connor grew up across the street from me. And after they moved in, her best friend ended up being my wife.
No kidding.
And so I went to kindergarten with her. But I don't remember much of her.
Yeah.
Of course, it's kindergarten. But then she moved, when Dawn moved across the street in 6th grade, Carrie would come over, my wife would come over all the time. And so I got to know her that way. But it was just kind of goofing around. And we used to go to Doe's Motel. You could swim at Doe's Motel for 50 cents.
What?
So where that big open area was a pool, it had a diving board. So we would go there, pay 50 cents, spend all day there, swim, dive, have lunch. Run and get Cokes and
That's so fun.
Crack, chips and things, and jump off the diving board. And they didn't think anything of it. Their parents would show up at 3 or 4 o'clock, pick us up, and
Sure.
we go back. But it was our own pool because we were the only ones ever in there.
I would suppose so. I would suppose so. But that's cool. I've never heard that story before. I've never heard anything about them having a pool. Wow. And then, like free time bound Jones Island, I'm sure that you guys went down there, did all the things there.
Yeah, we did. It was fun too because when I was dating my wife, they had a sailboat, a Sunfish, so we used to go sailing all the time.
Really?
And I remember bringing a buddy from college out there because it's not very deep in a lot of spots. And so we're doing the sailboat and we're going around. Of course, they tip them over on purpose. So I started yelling to them, keep your feet up. There's a lot of weeds. Keep your feet up. And of course, I'm standing. And so then I walk around the boat, and he was so mad because he was doing everything he can to stay on the boat, like something was going to happen to him. It was too deep.
That's awesome. And I love hearing stories about like growing up here, right? And it's cool that when did you become boyfriend, girlfriend with your wife? It wasn't the 4th grade.
It was kind of middle senior year.
Gotcha.
More around right before Christmas or something, we started dating.
Well, that's cool. So that's been a long time. How long have you guys been married?
40.
Not to put you on the spot, I don't.
43 years in September. So coming up to 43 years.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's really awesome. Now, what did she do? Did she go away to college as well?
No, she worked at Baxter at Walgreens and then Baxter. She went to secretarial school for a year, and then just worked at corporate for a while. And then we got married, and I pulled her to Davenport, Iowa, which you got to thank her for that because it's
Right.
Davenport, Iowa.
Davenport, Iowa was pretty exciting, especially then too with the.
Especially the economy was horrible, so the unemployment rate in John Deere, Case, International, Harvester, it was Caterpillar was bad, and luckily she found a job.
Wow.
And I went to school there. And if you're ever in the Quad Cities, you got to go to Jim's Rib Haven.
I was just there not that long ago, so
In
that's
Rock
where I need
Island,
to go.
Jim's Rib Haven is ungodly ribs. It's a place you could drive by it and not think about it. But when I was going to school, the place was closed. The EPA closed them down because there's too much junk coming out of their smokestack. And so I thought, if any place was cooking that many ribs, smoking that many ribs, I got to try it out.
It's got to be good.
Yeah, it's one of those places you want to lick the walls.
I've never said that out loud, I don't think. but it makes sense.
So next time, got to go to Jim's Rib Haven.
I will. I definitely will. That's really cool. Was there any ever doubt in your mind that, obviously you worked somewhere else just for a little bit. Was it your plan to live the rest of your life here?
It was. I was really happy where I was at, but it still wasn't home.
Yeah.
And, you have so many ties here. And again, the town's no bad place to live in Grayslake. Everything's kept up. The people are so nice. Everyone's level-headed. And so I kind of figured I'd always come back. And then when that opportunity came, of course, I jumped at it. But
Yeah. Somebody was laughing at me. I forget. One of my friends around my age, because I'm 53 years old, and was talking they were giggling that well, you still live in the same town you grew up in. And I'm like, well, you don't know our town. Right?
I have friends, same thing. They can't believe you would stay there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know about everything because we don't have a downtown that's on a main highway, right? Some people don't even know about our downtown or our neighborhoods or everything that we get to enjoy here that other places don't have.
Even like Libertyville. Downtown is on 21. And it's not like you see a lot of kids walking the streets there because it's such a busy road. But here you can go anywhere.
You can.
And the people are so nice. I remember Mrs. Rothundi at the Tasty Freeze. I was short money, and she didn't hesitate. So I told this story that she didn't even hesitate to say, "Don't worry about it."
Sure.
And I had to pay her back, and it wasn't a lot. So I rode home. As soon as I got money, I came back, and she's like, "Terry, you don't have to do that." But I felt like I had to because she was always so nice. But,
yeah, and it is nice that when you say that, I guess I don't even think about it, but we live in a town where a lot of people listening, like their parents have done a lot of the same stuff as we did, like going to Tasty Freeze. Like it's cool that we have some of the same places that were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going for my parents, we'd go to the hardware store right over by your place, and with their credit account. We just go get stuff and you sign for it, and then they come back. It wasn't a credit card. It was just that you had a line of credit there that you could do stuff, and I just picked stuff up.
Yeah, hooks were amazing.
Yeah.
One of my first memories was Seasook had a drugstore, and it was an old soda fountain. So we used to go there and get their malts, with the old metal shakers, and they'd spin them up. And God, I can remember going there all the time, and just how much fun that was.
Yeah, where was that?
That's where Abel's was.
Okay.
Actually, is the main part of Abel's. That was the whole.
Yeah, so I was thinking that's before my time, because I always thought it was I'd
that
go
was
to
a
a dry
long time.
cleaner and a laundromat.
Right.
That
was a real long time, yeah.
Yeah, but that's cool. But there was stuff for like the 5 and dime stuff to do,
Right.
and like that was wonderful.
And you always pick out the candy. It's so nice that the
Yes.
Historical Society saved that, because I just go in there and right away my memories are, picking out which candies I'm going to have.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'm glad you said Historical Society, because I think that's somewhere, if you live in Grayslake and you don't know the history of everything, if all you know about Grayslake is either listening to a couple episodes of this show or something,
Right.
to make it over there and check out, because they have some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Very, very nostalgic if you got to live through it too.
I don't know if you remember, we had a bowling alley that, when that burned down, Christmas Eve, 1970,
Really?
everybody knows when it happened. And it was right by Weggy's Accounting.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe that was like an 8-lane bowling alley. That would be a gold mine. If that was still here, an old bowling alley like that, and upstairs could be a restaurant, it would die. I mean, it would be a killer.
Yeah. See, I didn't know. That's funny that you say. See, we were talking before we started recording that I get to learn something every day. But it burnt down in 1970
Christmas Eve.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Other favorite things in Grayslake to do at that time? Or how about this? Tell me something that you really miss that you wish we had now that we had that, besides the bowling alley, of course.
One thing is, as a kid, we ran around. We played kick the can all the time. And we ran through everybody's yard, and nobody cared.
No.
Everybody was just kids running around. So we had a distance, but you could do it. And so it was fun to do stuff like that. And, my brother and I were big into football, so we were playing football. And our football would hit the neighbor's house, and no one came out yelling at us. We were always punting, kicking it, and stuff would happen. And they were just as friendly as could be.
Right. Just those darn kids playing outside again.
Right. Yeah, I was just so happy with all my friends hanging around doing stuff that, if there's other things available, it didn't really matter to you, because you just spent all day from, as soon as you woke up till you went to bed, just playing.
I feel like we're two old guys right now talking. Like when I was a kid, but that's how it was, right? Yeah, people that said, well, you guys were all really good at baseball. Well, we lived a half a block from the baseball field, and we got up in the morning and went and played, and we messed around all day, and we came home at nighttime.
Yeah, and we had so many. And every neighbor had a baseball field, and like we had one. And you always had different rules, because I was left-handed, and if you hit between a tree and first base, it was an automatic out, because the right field was really short. But if you hit it beyond the tree, you were fine. And if the ball was hit, they had a basset hound, one neighbor, and it was called Pooh Field. And the ball went in there as a ground rule double, because there's no way anyone was going to run fast through that. And then if you hit a really home run, there was a neighbor that was just one of those mean neighbors that if we hit a ball into his yard, he would run out, grab the ball, and run back into his house.
No kidding.
And so that was an automatic out, because he'd have to climb the fence or run around and get to it before he did.
That is hilarious. So you had the Pooh Field versus the ground rule double, the neighbor that would take the ball, so that's an automatic out, but between the tree and that's an out as well.
And then a neighbor had a pool that was two yards over, and if you hit into that, it was an automatic grand slam.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because it was that far of a hit.
I mean, but that's great. And that's when you lived over on Woodland.
Yeah.
Wow. I was just trying to imagine where it is. Is it before the bend? Like if
right before the bend.
Right before the bend.
Yeah, the third house in.
Wow. That's cool.
Fourth house in.
Must be. And it's kind of fun to drive around neighborhoods that we used to live in, right? Especially
it is.
Just through I always think about all the things we did and all the places we went. So I know our town's going through a lot of changes that are really good. But yeah, a lot of our old stomping grounds. And when they changed Grayslake High School and they put the tennis courts where the old baseball field was, like that totally threw me off.
Right.
Like they changed all that. I'm like, that's my field.
Yeah, and that was our Little League field, and that back in the day we would have, of course we played in the morning, And so we would show up in your blue jeans and your shirt and whatever hat you had. And when you got picked, all the high school players were your coach. And so it was just as important to have the right baseball player as your coach. You're all excited. You're Ken Hubbard, if he hears this. He's my coach. You're all excited. And then you'd play, and you just drop home plate, and he'd walk roughly 60 feet, drops, and you just kind of angle things out. You're playing in all grass fields.
Right.
And we would just play, and then if enough kids want to stick around, the coach would say, okay, let's play a doubleheader. And you just play a doubleheader. And, so we would play as long as we wanted to, and high school kids didn't care too many times. And
see, that's the fun stuff. And now you bring back memories for me, too, that we, all of us, because I batted left-handed as well, that, right field closed. Well, we would always have to have a team that all the lefties would play on one team because we didn't have enough guys, so then left field would be closed. And you wonder why we're all pole hitters, right? Because you couldn't hit it. You couldn't hit opposite field because you're out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. How fun is that, though?
And all the fields were, when you got to play in the South more, the baseball diamond, which you'll know.
Yeah.
That was real big. But, of course, no one was ever allowed to play in the varsity. That was back when Mr. Subject was the coach. Even that was, you don't touch it.
Yeah.
But, he spent a lot of time on it. And it's even impressive with Troy that, and all the parents that get involved. And I was there to watch one game. I was in between a doubleheader. And the game just got over, and all the kids go on the field, and they're raking the dirt back, they're cutting the grass again, they're relining, and it's all the kids doing the work.
Yes.
And so that's amazing that it's their field.
Right.
And they look at it that way. So Troy's done a great job.
He does. And my son, after going through the program with Troy, now coaching Little League, he tells the kids to get rakes, at 8 years old. He's like, you got to prepare yourself because you got to take care of this field. And I think when I interviewed Troy, I was laughing. I said, there's a rumor you're a tad bit psycho about your field.
Oh, yeah.
And he embraces that.
He doesn't. Everybody knows it.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
He deserves it. I mean, what a field. He's so many parents did put a lot of money into it and a lot of time into it. And
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathome.nlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
yeah.
It's a big thing. I know I brag about it all the time. My son was lucky enough to be on the state runner-up team, in 23?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Troy, we wanted to make it all the way, especially. And shout out to him for doing a great job with that. Okay, so back when you're in high school, I think baseball in Grayslake right now we're known as a baseball town. How about when you were growing up? Football, basketball, what was it?
We're very good at football. Crazy, because we're the smallest school by far in the county. And so we were not very good in sports. Probably baseball was the most successful. Now it's like Grayslake's track program. They continue to win districts. They win the state, cross country. Right. So it's neat that it's evolved and there's, this big enough size. Now we were under 1,000, so we weren't very big. And but we were playing against schools that were huge, that were 2,000 or more. And so Woodstock, we were so small that it was really unfair. We got beaten a lot of things. So
it happens.
Yeah.
Did I read somewhere? You coach basketball too?
Yeah, one passion. I've coached basketball for a lot of years, but I've been coaching the girls' feeder program for about 15 years.
Are you
and
still
my
doing
sons. And this is my last year. I retired because my son they have a granddaughter. I have a granddaughter now.
Congratulations.
And I know some weekends are going to be busy with them, and it takes up a lot of time. So, and it's hard because I really loved it. It was so fun coaching the girls because for them to learn the sport and get aggressive, and they are aggressive to begin with, but to watch them be successful. I teach them Euro steps and behind the back and through the legs, and I always wanted, my saying was, I want you to play like a boy. And now a lot of girls do play like boys. Caitlin Clark, obviously, but how you can learn so much from it. So I try to teach so many other values into it about taking chances. And a lot of girls are afraid to do something. Over the years, we had so many players who didn't play a lot in the beginning of the season because I don't believe in equal playing time. You got to earn your playing time. And if you're not good enough, you're still going to find time to play, but you got to get better to do it. And it's amazing how many girls, go up and take that step up and really improve. And I'll play girls who weren't the best, and they're closing the game out. I know one girl this year. We're only up 8 points, and you're still on the field. You're still on the court for a reason, because you've improved that much. I want you to finish the game out.
That's
and
really
she finished
cool.
the game out, and she didn't get nervous. But it's nice to see them go that extra step and take it. So I've always enjoyed the girls.
Yeah.
No one expects to be a WNBA person, and we have some good girls that can play. But I wanted everyone to learn how to play. And Steve Eichen is the head coach at the high school at Grayslake Central, and he wanted me to coach because he knows I'm going to be fair. I'm going to teach the girls the sport, a lot of fundamentals. Mm-hmm. And it's just been fun getting the girls to step up their game and push the good girls, and at the same time have the girls who aren't so good all of a sudden get comfortable and confident.
Sure. Yeah, my favorite things in coaching are watching the kids that struggle in the beginning and watch how they grow.
Right.
And also coaching the kids that are more advanced than them to be a leader to help them grow. Because that's another whole skill, a life skill as well, right?
Yeah, and we would do that. I have those girls lead drills and stuff, so.
Yeah, someone to look up to.
Right.
So did you say that, were you coaching at the high school?
I was coaching at the 8th grade feeder.
8th grade feeder, so AAU or?
Yeah, I have coached AAU, but it's 8th grade feeder. It's kind of the next step up from a school team, because they take all the girls who are going to go to Grayslake Central, they try out, and then we play all the schools that people are going to try out. Different high schools. So you're playing against all the different high schools all over the area.
Right, and how fun, and then you get them ready to go.
Right, and being 8th grade, we get them ready to go before they go into high school. But I know they're ready, and a lot of the girls, all the girls go out for the next year, because eventually basketball isn't going to be your sport. You're going to I want to be in the theater, I want to like band better, I like other things better. And so you always say goodbye to it at some time. It's just when. So you want the girls to try to really experience it. It's fun to watch the girls that stick it out. And then even when you see the girls that didn't do something else, they hear their experiences, what they're doing.
Right. Okay, so this is going to be your upcoming season, your first one off, huh?
Off. I'm dying.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which is good.
Can you help out a little bit when you have time?
I'd love to.
Or you
It's
have
one
to
of those
step
things.
away?
I have so many drills and stuff I want to do, but it's good that I'm leaving wanting to it, because I hate when coaches leave and they should have left 2 or 3 years before that.
Sure.
And the passion is still real strong. And it took me from March till just a couple of weeks ago before I called Steve and said, I can't do it.
Right.
The weekend's going to be busy. It's not right.
Wow.
So I'm dying.
Yeah, but now you get to be grandpa.
Right.
Right, and that'll be fun. And then
Yeah.
maybe you can go to some games, or you'll have to just stay the hell away from there, so you
Yeah.
can't even be involved in it.
Which all the girls that are on the team I coach, so it's
Right.
fun watching them in high school. It's the development, see how good they get.
Yeah.
And again, the Grayslake girls program now has gotten very good. They've made it to the Final Eight a few times now. And you just can't get past Montini, but Montini's a private school that gets girls from Deerfield, that gets girls from all over.
It's not fair.
Naperville, Plainfield, and it's not. And
Right.
I'd love IHSA to do something about that,
Yes.
because it's just, it's like if Notre Dame could only recruit out of Indiana, how good would they be? But if Indiana could recruit out of the whole country, how good would they be?
Correct.
And I don't care how many people you have in your school. Notre Dame can have 500 people in their school, and Indiana can only have, a couple thousand. Well, if you pick the right 1,000, you're going to
Sure.
win all the time.
Right. Well, we giggle because I went to Carmel, and I was
Yeah.
always Grayslake baseball, and the 3 guys on our team that were really good, we all went to Carmel. But the Grayslake baseball team was still really good, and they were always pissed because Carmel those guys went and handpicked the best of the best from every little town.
Right.
And then in the non-conference games, we'd go around and he would let us pitch, like, Dave, you get to pitch against Grayslake or against Round Lake, but it simply wasn't fair because I get to pick it.
But if you just move up, like my brother's in a private school down in Georgia, they move up 2 divisions because they know that, and they're like 800 kids, and that's 7th and 8th grade.
Right.
But it's not fair. And they don't recruit, but they don't have to.
Right.
So kids come to them, but now they're playing the biggest schools.
Right.
And so that's a lot more fair. When you're the same size, or you can go up like that.
Right.
So I don't mind if you play at a level that should be your level. Because, again, they don't want to dominate in 2 levels. They want to compete. And they've won 4 state championships in football.
Wow.
But again, that's in the last 40 years. My brother's been coaching on there, but they're still competitive. But they're playing the good teams, and they want the scouts to watch them play at the highest level.
Right.
Because a lot more people are going to watch that level scouts versus something too low. Getting Herschel Walker is going to be a rare. He was in the lowest division.
Right.
But when you rush for like 5,000 yards a season,
you open some people's eyes. They start to notice you a little bit through there.
But it's, sometimes it's people don't take the lower levels serious enough. It's not the same competition.
No.
But now they know what you can do against really good competition.
Isn't that the truth? Okay, truth time. Have you listened to a show of mine yet?
Yes, I did.
Did you? What did you
Yes.
listen to? Steve Lawrence.
Steve Lawrence and Griff Winters in Nano.
Oh, nice. Okay, we were just talking about Griff a little bit too.
Yeah.
Those were all really fun ones.
I figured I better listen to them before because I know what you're going to do. In case you come at me like, oh no.
You know how many people are like, I'm like, have you listened to anything? Like, well, I kind of binge listened last night in and out of so and so just to make sure what the hell they were getting into.
Yeah.
So in those about halfway through, and I know that we're on a time limit today. I got to get you out of here in 22 minutes.
Okay.
You got to plus your commute time back down the road. So what I like to do is something we call the Grayslake hot seat. So it's some rapid fire questions, and we'll see how you do here.
The Grayslake Hot Seat is brought to you by Joe Velez at JPV Financial. It's often said that those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Joe Velez and his team at JPV Financial create unique financial plans that address some of the most difficult challenges that people might face as they get older. No matter what stage of life you're in, having a proactive financial plan can help navigate some of the difficult decisions you'll face, helping you live your life by design, not default. Securities and investment advisory service offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Now for the Grayslake Hot Seat. Hey, thanks, Joe.
When you first meet somebody, how does somebody impress you?
I'd say by confidence.
Confidence. I like that. First car you ever owned?
A 1970 Dodge Dart Swinger. 4-barrel carburetor, jacked up, beast stripe in the back, black Landau roof, 2 scoops in the front.
Wow, how'd you get that lucky?
Yeah, we just fell upon it. And lucky my dad bought it.
Wow. All right. That's awesome, though.
And then we had to keep it up, though. But
sure,
it was a fun car to drive.
That's an awesome first car. First concert you ever went to?
Marshall Tucker Band.
Nice. What kind of music do you normally listen to?
Country.
Do you? New country, older country?
I like a little bit of everything. Actually, probably more middle 90s, older stuff.
Yeah.
But I still like a lot of new stuff. I can appreciate it.
Nice. What was your last Google search? What did you look up last on Google?
Oh, jeez. How to fix a car. How to fix a fan on a car that my fan's not working on my car.
Nice.
My radiator fan, so I looked up how to fix that.
I would say, aren't you a doctor? You should have somebody else fixing that for you, Terry.
I'm always curious.
Right. No, it's good. Have you ever owned a boat?
Yes.
What was the name of it?
It was Farside.
Farside. Like the comic Farside?
Yeah.
Is that how it got its name?
Yeah. Well, it's because our property was on the far side of where we are, so.
Nice. That's really fun. This is more of an elaborate one. What do you wish that you'd learned sooner in life?
Boy, there's like a whole mess of things that, always make sure that you love thy neighbor as yourself. You do unto others, but you just got to be nice to everybody. Sometimes you might not think you should try to strive to be the best person you can be all the time.
Yes.
Sometimes you fall short on that, but and then just understand that somebody might think they have something really. You might think they have something really good, but you really don't know what's going on with them.
Sure.
So how to make sure you can separate that and then not look at somebody else and say, I wish I had that more.
Right. Oh, I absolutely love that. Do you consider yourself a street smarts guy or a book smart guy?
Probably more book.
Yeah? If you had to have a superpower, what would it be?
Whatever Superman is.
Yeah. Well, he's got all of them.
He's got all of them.
Got all of
but it's kind of funny, though. If you throw a gun at him or a chair, he ducks, but bullets bounce off him.
Correct.
But
which is kind of fun.
It is interesting. So, but I just like to have that whole package.
Yeah, I think, and he's got to be the toughest superhero. All of that. Hidden talent that you have a talent in something that people don't know about. Besides your trombone playing?
I'd say really the trombone.
Right.
Always, I'm an open book.
Do you still play music?
Not anymore.
Okay.
But I really like barbecue, smoking and cooking, so I'll smoke and cook all day long if I can.
No wonder you're friends with Dr. Griff. You ever do that with him?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I go to his place and
he's got like 47 different cookers on the back. So if your life was a story up to this point of your life, what would the title of that story be?
Keep trying to get better.
And it's every day, right?
Right. You can always improve.
Would the 12-year-old version of yourself think you're cool?
I think he'd like me. Yeah.
He'd think he'd like you. That's
good. I think he would. I was a dork back then, so.
Have you ever had a nickname? Or not one that stuck?
There have been so many. Not really. Some people could still call me Bones or Doc, but in college.
Bones, did you say?
I was called Little Miller Bones because of the chiropractor, but a lot of times because my brother went to the same college, I was known as the Little Miller.
Little Miller.
Little Miller, because he was older and bigger than me.
Have you ever broken a bone?
Yes.
What'd you break?
Little toe, nose, ribs.
All right, those little things. If you had to have a theme party at your house, what would the theme be?
I would think Mexican. It's like the fiesta music and it's the happy atmosphere of.
And the food?
And the food, yeah.
1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
I'm very good.
You're very good. Okay, 1 to 10, if we asked everybody else how good of a driver you were, what would it be?
They would love it. When I was in high school, we took driver's ed, and I took it at 7 in the morning because I knew it was early, and the two people who were with me never showed up. So I drove with the driver's ed teacher by myself for an hour, and we went everywhere. And my dad was a driver's ed teacher way back in the day, and so he would always take us when we were like 14. We'd go some country road, and he'd let us drive. And just so we got comfortable with it, so when we started driving. So when I was 16, I'm driving down 94. The teacher would go, hey, let's go up to Wisconsin. Oh, I know how to get there, And so we drove everywhere.
Who was your driver's ed teacher?
Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin.
What's his first name?
Larry.
Not Larry Martin.
Larry Martin.
I love Larry.
And he just loved my driving because he never had to worry. He just sat back and I drove everywhere.
I'm going to go on record saying Larry Martin is one of the coolest human beings I've ever met in my entire life. And a great baseball coach, too.
Yeah. He was good at everything he did, and you respected him for who he was.
Yes.
And he was just one of the nicest guys I've met.
Yeah, absolutely. Favorite Grayslake event to go to? I know we have a ton of them now.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Which is great that we can say that, right? There's not like 2 to choose from.
Yeah, Summerfest.
Yeah. It's super fun. Let's stop those. Oh, no, I have 2 that I have to ask you because I'm legally obligated and bound.
Now I'm afraid.
Have you ever eaten a roller dog from a gas station?
No, I have not.
Gosh, really? And then, okay, so how many times in a row can you wear the same pair of jeans without washing them?
I bet 5.
Okay, 5. I've heard some interesting ones lately. A lot of I had no idea there were so many theories on jean wearing. Okay, back to Grayslake and you growing up. So you're born and raised here. So how's your family get here? How far back does your family in Grayslake go?
Yeah, my dad. It was when he was a teacher. He had to choose between Niles and Grayslake, and he came from Grant Park, Illinois, which is where he met my mom, and he's like the small town atmosphere. And so I was thinking, what my life. I've talked to my brother and sister about that. What my life would have been different. How different would have been going to one of the Niles schools versus going to Grayslake. And it's like, holy cow! Talk about a world different.
Yeah, and just your growing up, your day to day, like how you were born and raised, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So do you know what year they moved here? Any idea?
54.
54. Okay.
And back then, teachers had to take side jobs, and he worked, security at Abbott and all these different things.
What did he teach?
He started out with chemistry and math.
Okay.
And then he went to counseling at the end, and CEDO, a lot of work with CEDO.
Excellent.
But because of that, though, we had some great vacations because we went to summer school. And we would go to Montana State, we would go to Brown University, Colorado State. So we would spend summers, literally summers, in all these different universities. And so it was a great experience. So, and I feel sorry for him. I don't know how he studied, because he had to study and pass the classes, and yet we were always doing stuff.
Time management, right?
Oh, I have no idea how he did it, because, when we were at Brown, we were all over the East Coast doing stuff.
How fun. What a cool way to grow up.
Yeah, it was great.
You got to see a lot of different things.
Yeah,
and
for
live
10 weeks, at a time.
Right. And get to still enjoy your time in a great town.
Right.
Right? That's very cool. Okay, because of time things, I want to, business-wise, what's the most common thing somebody comes to you for? Lower back pain?
Yeah,
like my
typically.
age?
Right. And that's like most common. In reality, though, it's, we don't treat back pain, we treat what causes back pain. And so you want to get people looking into more than just pain, because it's really a neurological disturbance. So it's kind of an educational thing.
Sure.
But that's by far the most common, and then neck pain.
Yeah. All right, and this is the fun one that I always love. Give me, I know you have hundreds of them probably. Give me a really great, cool success story.
I had a patient who hurt his back, real spasms, was a concrete guy. And I had to make a house call a Friday night, and we were going to be gone on Saturday. And so I visited him, spent 2 hours with him, hitting trigger points. He was laying on his back. I had to roll him over one time, because my portable table was about the size of the bed. So I could get him to roll over one full time, and then a half time he would be laying on his stomach, and I could work on him. So I spent about 2 hours working with him. So about midnight, so I go home, then I went back to see him again at 5 o'clock in the morning, because we're going to be gone. Worked on him again. He was already doing better, but still real sore. And we had him come in. I saw him Sunday night when I got home, and Monday, and by Thursday he was working concrete again. I mean, he went from, he couldn't even roll like a quarter of a turn in bed. He was in so much spasm.
Interesting. It must be really fun doing what you know works and the things that you've studied. The people might come in and, not believe or not know the benefits of chiropractic.
Right, and that's what's kind of fun, is because you have so many non-believers, and then when they get adjusted, it's like, oh, that's not so bad. And then you start healing them and getting their spine in better alignment, and all these different conditions go away. Then it's really fun. I enjoy that so much, watching how they change, and all of a sudden they're full believers in it. Yeah,
you have a rewarding job that you can see people come in. Maybe they limp in, and they're coming in a week later, and they're feeling a lot better.
Yeah, I'm 65 now. I'm not going to retire for a while. I mean, I just love doing it. And I've known chiropractors that were in their 80s still doing it, and as long as I can physically do it, I'm going to keep doing it.
Sure. Last question, and then we'll wrap up. A common thing people might not think is associated with something that you could help with, like if somebody having a physical ailment, that they might not think of chiropractic care for that.
Probably the first thing that popped in my mind was earaches, because kids can have disturbances, or even bedwetting. They don't realize how chiropractic can help some of those conditions.
Really?
And it's just freeing up the nerves that go to an area. The trophic supply, which is the blood supply to your ear, comes from nerves in the neck. And if you free things up, I've had some pretty neat experiences with parents like, oh my God, this kid was on maintenance doses of antibiotics, and now they don't need it. It's not 100% cure of everything. It's like everything. It's not 100% cure.
Sure.
But then it's the number of cases of patients that were told they need surgery and then they don't. And there's no question you need surgery. I work with neurologists in here. I have no problem having someone when they need it, but it shouldn't always be. You think about that first. You should think if you could do something more conservative first.
Sure.
And there's people who had some serious problems, and they thought for sure they're having backaches. Told by doctors, you have to have surgery, and then they don't.
Wow, that must be really fulfilling to know.
Right.
See somebody walk out that doesn't have, because that's serious stuff.
Right.
Wow. And so business must be really good that you, and I'm assuming you and Johnny, you and Dr. Ballmeyer are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are a lot alike.
He went to me. Yeah, he grew up going to me. I know he went to Doc first, and then he went to me for a number of years, and yeah, so.
It's cool.
And we're not really competitors, because there's so many people who don't go to chiropractors that it's not that. It's like you want everyone to have a good experience at chiropractic, so they think about it.
Sure.
I was talking to a guy who did we were down the Keys and he was fishing, and he was our guide, and some people had just come to one of the guys asked if they could have more bait. They were out. And when they were asking how the guys were doing, and they were like, oh, they're not, it hasn't been a good day for them. We were killing it. My son and I were dead from catching so many tarpon. And so we caught a big one, of course, right there. And then as we were going away, because we had to chase him, and he called the other guy and said, "Hey, take up my buoy. I have a buoy with a weight. Take it." And he goes, "Well, I hope you don't mind that they're using our buoy, because it's going to be a while before the fish comes in. But hopefully they'll catch fish, because you want everyone to have a good experience. And when they have a good experience, they're going to tell more people to come fish at the Keys." Right. And just like with chiropractic, the more good experiences they have, because you hate the bad experiences. Because too many people go to a chiropractor and then say, "I'll never go again because it was bad." But they can go to a bad mechanic, yet they still go to a mechanic. They can have a bad medical doctor, they still go to medical doctors. Sometimes the chiropractors, they don't. And so you want them to have the great experience, that they like it, and then the profession keeps growing.
Yeah, and it seems like I love it, because both of you guys are great, and it's just so fun to watch people get along, because you do the same things, and there's enough to go around for everybody. And it does seem like chiropractic seems kind of like a maintenance thing. Like maybe check in with you before I start hurting rather than after I can't walk.
Right, and the maintenance word is used a lot, especially by insurance companies. And it's not maintenance. We're catching a problem early. It's like, sorry, you have cancer, but you don't have symptoms bad enough, so we're going to let it get bad. And if your back is out, it's out long before. You might have little twinges or something, but we can find problems way earlier. Why would you not want to fix it? Because the longer it stays out, the more damage is going to be done.
Right.
And the more damage, that means arthritis down the road. So why wouldn't you?
Right. Do you have a 2 o'clock appointment available for me?
Yeah.
Maybe I should walk right down there with you.
So you're catching problems early. That's what preventative care is about. You're preventing arthritis down the road. And again, every organ, every cell in the body is controlled by nerves. So misalignments do affect your heart, your kidney, your stomach, and stuff like that. So any interference is going to cause something not to work right, not that it's going to shut down. If you have arteries that are 90% clogged, adjustment's not going to open that up. But the nerves that go to the heart, what if a nerve's pinched? What if nerves, because other doctors, will test patients if they have low back problems, herniations. They'll have them walk on their toes or the heels, because there could be so much pressure they can't walk on their toes or the heels. Or they'll ask them, can you control your bowels or your bladder? Because you can't when there's a bad enough herniated disc. Well, if a herniated disc can affect your bowel and your bladder, how does it not affect your stomach? How does it not affect your heart? Now, you have a lot of nerves that go there, so like I say, if your arteries are 90% clogged, adjustment's not going to fix that. That's something totally different. Right. But there's so many different factors to what health should be, and everyone needs to kick in, because it should be about the patient. It's what's best. If I can't help you, I'm going to send you to somebody who can help you. And if that doctor can't help you, you hope they can send somebody somewhere else, because we send out all the time. If I want just a second opinion, I'm not comfortable with this. Let's make sure you don't have other things going on. And it should be about the patient.
Right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I appreciate, and I do respect your time, and thank you for spending time with me today. Do you have a Facebook page, a website, anywhere people can visit?
Miller Chiropractic, GL.com. I'm on Facebook. Okay. I should do more on Facebook.
Yeah. Hey, I'll come down and do some stuff for you.
Yeah,
Be
thanks.
fun.
If you can do it, but yeah.
Cool.
And then again, if somebody has any questions, they can always call, because I'm not going to force, I'm a pretty laid back kind of guy that if you have questions about chiropractic, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. And if you want to hang up on me, I don't care.
All right.
But just if you have questions, come in, or just talk. And if I can help you with something, or I can send you someplace else. Or sometimes even with people, these are questions you should ask your doctor. Because they have something, I go, I don't think we can help that, but ask them this. And I've had patients, or people I've never even had as patients, call back and say those questions were helpful.
Awesome.
And they understood their problem better.
Nice. Well, thank you for what you do.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Grayslake, do me a favor, wherever you guys are listening, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, wherever that you guys listen, or wherever you get your podcasts at. And do me a favor, talk to somebody in town and tell them about the show. It gets very frustrating. We get 500-600 listens for a show, but we have 21,000 people here. So please do that for me. And I appreciate you guys taking the time, and listen every Tuesday for somebody new maybe that you don't know. And as I always end, we kind of touched on it before about being a good human. Get out there today and do 1-2 different random acts of kindness, whether it's just smiling at somebody on the road, or opening the door for somebody and being nice to the people, your servers, or I always say the dollar store cashier, because you never know what people are going through. So be kind, be nice. You can make our town, our world a better place very easily. So, Terry, thank you again, buddy. Appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
And I'll be coming in for a crack soon.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Grayslake.